The Northern Nevada International Center is an organization that provides multiple different services for incoming international guests and refugees. Their main areas of service fall under three categories. 1, finding and connecting international delegates to hosts. 2, volunteering to aid refugee families. And 3, providing interpretation and translation services. The NNIC connects around 500 international guests annually with appropriate hosts, which range from teachers, students, journalists, and judges in the Northern Nevada and Northern California regions. The goal is to help foster a new era of global citizens through these interactions. Not only does the NNIC help place displaced persons from around the world, they also provide mentor families for the refugees who are placed in the Reno area. One way that the Northern Nevada International Center helps these displaced people is through connections and community work. An example of this is through partnering with the university, as was the case to build this community garden filled with plants that families would eat in their home countries. The final big service that the NNIC offers is the Language Bank of Northern Nevada. Through this program, clients can get professional translations and interpretation services in over 200 languages.
Our team had a hard time finding a time that we could all meet, so I planned to meet with Karina on a Friday. That is when I met Lauren, who took over our group. When discussing with Lauren, I mentioned needing something with flexibility due to our scheduling conflict. Then we talked about our project management plan. After mentioning that this project could be something that would benefit their organization, she explained to me how their list of volunteers was ruined and needed to be redone. They wanted us to coordinate the volunteers more effectively in regards to transportation for their refugees, so using a paper copy of their volunteer list that was in their binders and the program Microsoft Office, we decided that we would convert all of their documents into a digital format. This did not take the amount of time we originally planned on it taking, so we ran into some problems.
Our experience at the Northern Nevada International Center was probably different compared to most other service learning projects. There were good and bad parts to it. In the beginning, things went smoothly and there was lots of communication between the volunteer coordinator and us. Each one of us would go into the office when we had a chance to work on our work management plan. This involved working on a computer and using programs like Excel and Access to coordinate the volunteers for the refugees. This was challenging in itself because each one of us had very complicated work schedules, so to find the time to go in and get our hours done was hard throughout the semester. As the semester continued, the communication between the volunteer coordinator and us dwindled. Tasks became unclear, we would schedule times to come in and work, and she wouldn't be there like promised, and so on. Through this experience, we learned how important it is to communicate within projects and groups, and how important it is to be professional and the impact that professionalism can have on a person. After talking to our professor, we decided to take a different approach to our service learning project. We came up with the volunteer how-to guide in order to finish the rest of our service learning hours.
Like Rachel said before, our group ultimately ended up creating a volunteer manual as suggested by our professor. This is an excerpt of one of the sections in our manual. Creating this manual taught us all a lot about how we would like to be treated as volunteers, and also how we would want to treat any volunteers we may encounter as we venture into becoming professionals in the public health field. The purpose of what our group created is to ensure that both the volunteers and supervisors stay on the same page. The manual suggests ways in which volunteers and supervisors can best communicate and establish a strong line of communication. Also, the manual gave suggestions about better ways to organize documents, scheduling volunteers, and the orientation for new volunteers working with the program. Some of the key points that are highlighted throughout the volunteer manual are communication, accountability, and expectations, not only from the volunteers, but the supervisors as well. These are all things that we felt were important and could have been stronger during our time spent with NNIC. We believe that all of these elements play a valuable role in ensuring volunteer-based programs run smoothly. We hope that our manual can be used and that NNIC will benefit from what we made in some way. We also hope that volunteers' experiences can be positively impacted by what we have created and the feedback provided in this manual is able to make a difference.